It's Roll for Crit, and we're here to discuss some more legal trouble in the board game industry. There was a report that was originally posted on an Indiana legal blog, and then Board Game Geek picked up on it and reported on that, and now we're here to discuss it. Basically what happened, and what is currently happening, is that the game company Indie Game Studios is filing a lawsuit for trademark infringement, essentially, against Plan B Games for over the game Great Western Trail. What happened is Indie Game Studios, which, if you don't know, is made up of Stronghold games and Indie Board and Cards. They've gotten a bunch of things that have merged into this one company. They made a deal to publish Great Western Trail for a period in the United States from the game's owner, Eggertspiele, which owned the game in Germany. And the deal was they would publish it, and Eggertspiele would not do anything, wouldn't violate this contract. Mm-hmm. It was Stronghold's to publish in the U.S. Sometime during this time period, Plan B Games purchased Eggertspiele, and then later, this was in 2017, when Stronghold Games went back to ask for permission to then put out a reprint for more copies of Great Western Trail, Plan B Games said no. They did not honor the contract. They said, since we never discussed it, it's not on us. And they put out their own second version of the game, exactly the same thing, just with their logo on it instead of a Stronghold logo in the US. So that is the dispute. Indie Game Studios feels that they shouldn't have done this, they had a deal, and that the deal should have been honored once they acquired the old company's assets. Right. So that's what's going on. And it is unfortunate they haven't released the actual contract, but you can go on the site and actually see the complaint that was filed and read very much, all the legalese of exactly what's going on. What do you think? What's your take? Do you think that it sounds to me like Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios are completely in the right, and not being a legal expert, either of us, it sounds to me like it is the burden of Plan B Games that they should have taken on that contract and respected it. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, in my head it is, because I think, let's say if Company A made a deal, or Company B has debt to Company A, but then Company C buys Company B, they buy the debt too, I would assume.
Right.
But that's a number total, not a deal like this, so I'm like... And then, of course, now we're also crossing international borders too, which is... even more fun.
Right. It's hard. It might be hard to deal with that. Although now it's
I think this is just an American thing, but I don't know if because they bought them in Germany, if that would make a difference.
Yeah, it is. I think for the most part, it's again, really not knowing anything. I think that it's fairly cut and dry. They should have honored it, but like you're saying, I'm sure there's some kind of, if they have decent lawyers, good loopholes that could have to do with the fact that it was purchased at this time, or the deal was this place.
Also, how they purchased them too, I don't know if because you just said purchased, I don't know if they purchased because, what was the original?
Eggertspiele.
Thank you. If Eggert went bankrupt, or if they just simply an Asmodee merger kind of deal.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know about the reasoning behind it, but I'm confident in saying that it was an outright purchase, not a merger. They own them now. It is unfortunate. And Great Western Trail was a really popular game, which, shown by the fact that they wanted to print more copies.
Right.
So it's a shame for consumers because
it's in limbo until this is solved.
Yeah, there's the real issue there, and there's also, most people may not be aware of it, but if you are, there might even be a moral question of not wanting to buy a version if you feel that personally that it's not right that they are taking from Stronghold or something like that. It really is a shame, and it really just comes down to because we just see legal things like this from time to time. I can't remember from our time in, following the industry, any that were specifically about publishing rights. Usually, I think a lot of it the trademark stuff is because they think someone like ripped off their idea. There was that the Martin Wallace thing not too long ago where it was almost more of a dispute about like who actually designed Steam and Age of Steam.
Well, the issue here, like you said, because I don't think usually when there's a buyout, like let's say when Asmodee ate up a whole bunch of companies, they had the company's rights to everywhere. There wasn't like some weird, like a company they didn't buy out was publishing.
Right, they didn't have a deal with at least that we know. Well, if it was a problem with it, we probably would have known. But clearly they knew it. I also think it's a lot different because Asmodee, they are a giant, and they probably do have a great team of lawyers.
Great team. They probably have a very terrifying.
Yeah,
they summoned like the dark elder gods to be
they're the Disney of board games, really. And I wouldn't be surprised to find that like indie game studios, even with for being one of the larger. I mean, indie is in their name, right? Like, they probably don't have the resources.
It's ironic.
For a great legal team, and I'm guessing neither maybe does Plan B or Eggertspiele. And
I mean, they aren't nobodies either.
That's true, but nobody's in the. I'm not saying they. I mean, they. Everyone should have one.
Who made one game through Kickstarter or something.
No, that's true. I mean, they definitely have. They have a presence for sure, and I just think that our industry is still young and still relatively small, and that there's people who.
What I think
communication should have happened
is one of those times like when you play a board game and someone asks that one question that the rulebook doesn't answer.
That's basically what studying law is. It's errata.
Finding errata and loopholes.
It's if you're really good at rule. There's a reason they call it a rules lawyer. Like maybe consider a career in law. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully it gets resolved soon. These things, of course, can take forever. Maybe it'll get settled out of court. I don't know yet. I don't think they've said they're actually going to court over it.
Hopefully we'll be lucky enough that Stronghold will then make a game about this.
That could be a game. Hopefully we can get our hands on Great Western Trail without having to. Hopefully it doesn't the worst case scenario is it's gone. Like
that has happened with movies. I know where a company goes bankrupt, studio goes bankrupt, but for whatever reason no one can make it.
And it's a lot harder to pirate a board game than a movie that's out of print. So you're out of luck there too. We'd like to hear from you in the comments if you're someone who has been following the situation or a Great Western Trail player or a lawyer, what your thoughts are.
Specifically, a Great Western lawyer.
Yeah, a Great Western lawyer. There should be a Western law movie.
There probably is.
There should be more of them. Any of those things, leave your comments, or you can find more of our videos, on this channel where you can watch us flounder through legal issues like this. Until we see you again, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crit.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more board game content. Every little bit helps.
Please, we gotta eat.